Rewatch Gossip Girl with me. If you knew my story word for word, had all of my history, would you rewatch Gossip Girl with me?
Woo!
'Cause in the morning, I'm making waffles. What's up, guys? Organic waffles? Where you guys going? Are you guys leaving right now? I was gonna make waffles. I got my neck cord on. I got my favorite band tee on.
Who are you supposed to be?
I got flannel on. I'm Rufus. I'm Rufus, baby. I'm clogging it as Rufus because this is called The Wild Brunch, this episode, and it's the
Maria,
first time.
I'd like you to meet Rufus Humphrey.
Yeah, meet him up. I'm going to be having a lot of fun with these episodes and costumes and themes, and especially in the first season, there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of firsts for things, like the first time, like Rufus brings up waffles. So, a little shout out to Stonewall Kitchen Farmhouse Pancake and Waffle Mix. Thank you.
Really? I thought it was another excuse for an open bar and,
Yes, well, welcome. We're back. We're back to Gossip Girl XOXO, your rewatch podcast. It's been 18 years. I'm your host, Alexandra. We've got our producer, Brenty.
Hey.
What's up with your vibe today? What's your outfit inspo? I love it.
I don't know. This is just like what I wear to work.
Okay. So,
I'm in my work clothes.
like, can you describe it for the people who are not tuned in via YouTube?
Oh, describe it for the non-video watchers. Yeah. It's like a tracksuit jacket.
Okay.
It kind of looks like it's from the 90s. And there's also a Adidas bucket hat and sunglasses.
Okay. Nice. So we are missing the fact that the jacket is white, orange, and purple, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's kind of like something Spike Lee would wear to a Knick game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so we're channeling dads that were like thriving in the 90s, and it's now like mid-aughts, and we're still like trying to thrive in the 90s and the mid-aughts with our like leather cord necklaces. So you brought that up. But before we get too into the episode, let's introduce it all. We've got Jack Cam. She's not up there right now. But Jack is our girl, Jackie B. We've got a dog below us named Big Mac holding it down. And of course, we're using gossipgirlfandom.com. Thank you so much.
The videos are so sad of the Jack cam
That she's not there.
and the Bubs cam. Actually, my foot's in the way of the Bub cam, but it's still really
Well,
dark.
So he's mostly black and it's dark down there. So there he is, a nice furry little rug. Okay. So something that we're going to do is the intro. So could you please give me just like some random soundbite, and then I'm going to do the intro.
What do you mean random? I have all of season 1.
I know that's what's going to make it fun. So I'm going to read Gossip Girl's intro to the episode to kick it off in Kristen Bell's voice.
Oh, you want like music?
Yeah,
That type of thing? Oh man, I'm not equipped for that.
I just want a random click.
A random click. Okay.
What? Cool. Thanks.
Perfect. I bet you're wondering what Gossip Girl is doing up so early. Truth is, I never went to bed. Why waste precious time dreaming when waking life is so much better? Is there anything really better than a lazy Sunday? Reading the paper in bed, sipping coffee, scrambling an egg or two? Yeah, right.
But it's Sunday morning.
Yeah, right. We Upper East Siders don't do lazy. Breakfast is brunch, and it comes with champagne and a dress code, and 100 of our closest friends and enemies. Chuck's dad, Bart Bass, is hosting an annual brunch for his foundation. Everyone is invited. Well, not everyone. XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Hell yeah.
So I think we're taking a learning note here live. Is like when we are doing the Gossip Girl Kristen Bell intro, we do not do any sound bumps. There's respect for that space, okay?
Okay.
That is a solid monologue that needs to be read. I should have read it when I came in, but I was so excited about the waffles bit. So as you can see, I commit to the bit, and sometimes I think I just am the bit, which is
Wait, did you make waffles?
Fun.
Or you just had the box of them?
no, I just have this, like giant can of waffle mix. So I thought I had some frozen fluffy Eggos upstairs, and I was gonna like cook them and eat them and give like just like major waffle vibes because it's the first time, like I said, Rufus talks about waffles, but no, I didn't make waffles because guess what? We don't have waffles upstairs. My bad. Okay. Viewers at home, I'm also going to give you a description of my outfit in case you are not tuned in to YouTube or on the viewing section of Spotify. Moment for the fit. Moment for the fit. Okay. We got jeans. We got red Converse because you know that he thinks that's cool, right?
I think your ankle just cracked like close to the microphone.
No, those are my shoelaces.
Oh,
Sorry.
gotcha.
Okay. We've got Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie. We've got flannel. We've got one earring. I know that's not part of Rufus's like character. That's an add-on. You know, we've got the best we could do for a cord little necklace that he was wearing in episode 1 that Brent brought up and was like, what was that? I noticed that in episode 2. Yeah, that was his fashion choice.
Oh, yeah. I got to find a picture of that real quick.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to dive right in. And this episode is called The Wild Brunch. And as we talked about earlier, like all the episodes are named after movies. This is named after a 1969 film called The Wild Bunch.
Never seen it.
Me neither. So definitely need to look into that. But it's happening just after the Kiss on the Lips party, where, trigger warning, Chuck Bass was a real ass.
What else is new?
He
That
already
guy
knows.
sucks.
He already knows. Oops. I might be dressed up as Rufus, but the gloss never stops. Moment for the gloss. So I'm glossing up as we start this episode. The Wild Brunch. You know, something I was telling Brenty that I love about this is that there's always a freaking party. Like the episodes, it's not like the season, but like episodes. They lead up to some sort of event, birthday, fundraiser, get together, sleepover.
He's behind you.
Oh yeah, the cord. I mean,
What
let
is
me get
that?
out of the way for that. So
It's kind of a
it's like something you would buy at a craft store. It's made out of suede. Sorry, Bubs. And it's like it literally just tied around his neck. Ooh, I want to talk to anyone who's ever worn that like that. I'm wearing like some it's kind of more like a rope belt situation, but and he's got a V-neck that's cut. Yeah, ooh. I don't know, man. Maybe I dressed a little, I don't know. He's like trying to show like, ooh, I work out, I have a t-shirt. But anyways, we're reeling from that party where nobody's being held accountable. Chuck Bass, who was an ass. He completely essayed, you know, 2 people in that episode, and Dan and Serena's date got completely derailed, so they had to go save, you know, little Jay from Chuck Bass in a very bad situation. And it's like the pilot, you know?
Yeah.
Is that too much for a pilot, or like were we?
Makes you want to watch the next one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is CW. It was like every Gossip Girl fan knows, like, part of what made this show so enticing is that they leaned into that advertising that was negative, like, oh, this is so salacious and bad and sexy and inappropriate. They would use those headlines as like posters with like sexy pictures of them making out. And it was like, oh, wow, this is so scandalous. It's like the Sex and the City of our times. Yeah. But anyways, so we're like day after Kiss of the Lips. That was Saturday. Now it's Sunday. We've got this brunch. We're meeting Bart Bass for the first time, which is big. We're meeting Dorota, which is for the first time, which is big, which is, you know, someone very significant in Blair Waldorf's life. We see her there, and I was like, oh, Dorota. To this day, Leighton Meester and the actor who played Dorota are still close friends. So gotta love that. So recap, we found out that Nate revealed that she and Serena slept together. So Blair knows. And Blair is pissed. But Serena doesn't know that Blair knows. And she's like, yeah, you know, things were kind of rocky when we met up in the pilot at the bar. And I want to try to make things right. And like, so Serena has this plan to just get up. I have no idea what time this is, Brent. Something I've been thinking about is timestamps. I want timestamps because so much happens before brunch and they're jumping all over New York, but like, okay.
Oh, you mean like what time did she wake up?
Yeah, like what time is she? So this first action before the brunch of the day, which maybe let's call noon. I don't know. It's a fancy brunch. It's a fundraiser.
Like, what time does Penn Badgley go to the hotel to wait for?
Exactly. This is like, there's so much that happens. That's before the brunch. So, first thing that happens is that they are in the loft and Dan and Jenny are talking about the night before and how badly Dan, handled the goodbye with the date and like waved and like the awkward situation with Serena. And he was like, dude, I like blew my shot. And little Jay was like, you guys gotta try again. And, you know, whatever, just go win her back. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go right now. I'm gonna go to her hotel right now with nothing, just me. And I'm gonna go and win her back. She's like, yeah. And I'm going to go to Blair's and return the calligraphy pens. But actually, I want to know what they're saying about me because of the whole Chuck thing. So they're planning to go off to this whole side missions. And then Rufus comes in and is like, where are you guys going? I was going to make waffles. Where are you guys going? Oh, well, we're down there. And he's like, oh, I'm going to. They're off. So Serena.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah. Bye, Dad. Meanwhile, Serena is like, I'm going to go make things right with Blair, you know? And so she shows up with like, I think a note and like coffee and croissants and like a copy of Breakfast at Tiffany's, the movie. And she's like, it's our tradition. We always watch this. And, you know, every Sunday we, you know, eat baguettes and do this, croissants. And Blair is just standing in her four-way and she's like, she's giving the Scorpio. She's giving the rest in bitch face. I'm a Scorpio. Her character's birthday, I believe, is the 17th of November. Mine is the 11th. So yeah, she's given that recipe. She knows. Nate told her. And she's like, cut the crap, Serena. Nate told me that you slept with him. Like, I know why you left, and I know that you're lying to me. And she's like, oh, well, I'm really sorry. And it's like, yo.
Sorry.
Yeah. And she's so that's Blair. And she's like, sorry is not enough, dude. Like, I haven't even slept with him yet. You're my
Sorry.
best friend.
Did you want to tell him?
Yeah. So whatever. Then it cuts to, so she's like, girl, bye. And Serena's like, okay. And then we cut to Chuck and Nate, who wake up at the Palace Hotel because his dad owns it. And they're in a penthouse where, like, Chuck lives. That's a 17-year-old alone with no supervision. Nate's, like, hungover on the couch alone. Chuck is surrounded by women on the bed and it's like, hey, Nate, like, you want to have some of these girls? Disgusting. Gross.
Oh yeah, it was like the workers from the party the night before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
do a really good job of making him just the biggest douche.
Yeah. And also, like, those little continuities of who, if you look at who it is, it's like, oh, because there's another moment at the end of the episode where that happened. And I'm like, oh, that was the.
I mean, plus the haircut, plus the style that really didn't age well. Even at the time, I'm sure it was douchey, but it's even more so now.
Exactly. And the actor also had some controversy that didn't age well and some serious allegations against him.
Oh, there's tea on that?
I wouldn't call SA allegations tea as much as I would call it SA allegations. So
That's
yeah,
fair.
we're going to leave it at that. He, I think, is married with a child. And yeah, so no waffles. Maybe Rufus had waffles, maybe he didn't. And we're seeing them, two playboys wake up at the hotel, and it's like time. I love what you're doing like that. I can see Brent just kind of swirling an image of Rufus with a V-neck and the rope behind me on the green screen, and it's just great. So that's why I'm encouraging you, if you're on Spotify, to click on the video if it's safe for you to watch right now, or to go on YouTube and hang out. It's kind of fun to watch him pull up random stuff. All right, centering myself. So yeah. Oh my God, wait.
Yeah.
Before,
How's your mom doing with the divorce and everything?
yeah. Okay, so okay,
Was
right.
that in the episode? I was just trying to fill the gap of silence.
Well, the gap of silence is this timeline thing again. So before Serena goes off to Blair's to try to apologize, she first stops at the Ostroff Center to visit Eric and tell Eric about the date with Dan and the awkward wave. So, like, we're panning between Dan telling his sister about the awkward wave and Serena telling her brother about the awkward wave. And it's kind of cute. It's kind of adorable. But yeah, again, girl, what time is this? 8:30, 8 a.m.? So she's at the Ostroff Center. Then she's at Blair's. Then we cut to the Palace Hotel where Chuck and Nate are hungover, yada, yada, yada. Then, like I said, little Jay is going to go to Blair's and return the calligraphy pens, aka get the tea and see if people are talking about Chuck and her and anything weird about the Kiss the Lips party. And Dan is going to go to the Palace Hotel just randomly. I don't see him with coffee or donuts or anything, but just going to go and win her back after that awkward wave off. He gets there and literally we see her, I have to go. She's leaving to go try to make things right. Maybe she's going to Eric's, whatever. She's off. He misses her and is greeted by the concierge and is like, you can wait, you know? And then someone else who just woke up hungover named Nate Archibald.
I just want to say, shout out to the security concierge guy in the hotel lobby. I think that was the funniest scene
Why?
because he's funny.
Yeah, I know, but describe it to me. What stuck out about it to you? Because it is funny. The physical comedy and the awkwardness of it.
Yeah, he just couldn't be bothered by what's Penn's character? That's
Lonely boy.
Lonely Boy.
Dan Humphrey.
Dan Humphrey. Yeah. He's just so annoyed by him asking to see Blair. He doesn't care about their drama and their lives. And he's like, she just left. Go sit down.
Yeah. And it's like, it kind of takes you out of the world because we're also, the rest of the characters interact in this drama of it all. And he's just like,
He can get in line behind that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the exact clip because Nate Archibald stumbles down from the penthouse because, again, Serena's living at the Palace Hotel, owned by Chuck's father, where they just woke up in Chuck's penthouse while her other mom's penthouse is getting renovated. Whatever. So Nate stumbles down and that clip happens and he's like, oh, where's Serena? Well, she's not here and you can wait and there's another guy waiting.
He can get in line behind that guy.
Yeah. So that's awkward. They look at each other. It's like, what are you doing? And, Lonely Boy's like, you're dating Blair. Like, I'm so confused. Time goes by because, Serena is a bird. She's off with the wind. And they actually just, stumble, outside because they've been waiting so long. And so, of course, right outside the hotel is Central Park. And they're just kind of standing there. And, yeah. So we cut to little Jay at Blair's. Blair can see right through the whole calligraphy pen thing. And Blair is pretty manipulative, right? Something she uses for her embetterment, which I'm going to keep an eye out for and see if she uses it for others. But for the most part, it's pretty much for her own self-game. Because I think it's driven through insecurities. That's our
I don't know if we should
furnace.
wait for that.
I mean,
Just let it rip.
Yeah. So we have a furnace. We're recording this in our
Give it
basement.
up for the furnace.
So Furnace just entered the chat. It's heating up. Oh, shoot. Well, we don't even have the heat on. It's September.
Maybe we can cut it out in post. I don't know.
I think we should leave it in. This is real life, man. Things are happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Okay, so yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
Yeah. Dan has to go. So then we're at, this special intimate scene in Blair's room while she's trying on dresses for the brunch because obviously she's going. And she has this really blue tube top, tight, shiny kind of dress. And Jenny's like, wow, she's never owned anything like that. But her mom, Blair's mom, is a fashion designer. And that's just one of many fancy dresses she has. And definitely not brunch appropriate. So I don't even know why she was holding it up. But she's like, oh, well, you know what? As a thank you for what you did, for making all those invitations to the kiss on the lips, I'm just going to give you this. This is so out of season. I don't wear this. I have plenty. And it's a really expensive dress. And little Jay's like, I can't take this. And she's like, yes, you can. It's going to look great on you. And so she takes the dress and she's like, oh my gosh, whoa. So she's feeling kind of in on the circle. But as viewers, we are seeing, little Jay's a freshman. We're seeing that the upperclassman is being manipulative and taking advantage because she thinks she can align little Jay with her minions. she doesn't see little Jay as a threat yet. You know what I'm saying?
Family.
So sorry.
All right, so then we cut back to the two gentlemen waiting outside the palace, still before the brunch. All this is going down, and then Chuck comes outside and sees Dan there, and he just gets really pissed because he remembers Furnace has left the chat.
Yep.
So he comes outside and he's super pissed to see Nate and Dan like talking because Dan is the guy who punched him in the face because he was SA his sister, and anybody who SA should be punched in the face or prevented. So they get this little fight and this guy's little collar popped and it's so obnoxious, and it's like, what? 10:30 in the morning, like who cares? Why are you wearing a polo and like outside?
It's 10.
Yeah, so it's like just chill. And we're just getting ready for this big event happening. All right. And finally, okay, like Serena returns. And these two dudes are here. And at the same time, her mom's like walking in. And this is all happening outside in the like foyer of the Palace Hotel. And she's like, what are you doing? You know, because her and Dan just made plans to go patch things up. The awkward wave. He was like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about last night. I'm so sorry. Let's go get some food. She's like, oh, I'm starving. Let's do it. They were just going to go like do a little date and be cute. Serena does not give a fuck about her mom's agenda, about being a socialite. And like, it's kind of obnoxious how she's just like, you can take it or leave it. She's so indifferent to being as privileged as she is. That she just acts like all of these opportunities or obligations are bothersome, and she just doesn't seem to really respect maybe other people's time in the way she lets people know about that, but it's also very restrictive and not freeing, and she's always put on this pedestal. So I'm like wishing that this young woman could just go have breakfast with this guy.
Are you hungry?
You know?
That's what he says.
What did he say?
Are you hungry?
Yeah, it's like, it's just so nice and genuine. And he's like making a move and like putting himself out there and all this. And she's like, yeah. And then the mom's like, no, we're going to brunch. And she's like, well, I'm not going to brunch unless I can bring Dan. And again, she has no idea that Dan is going to upset, like, she doesn't know that Dan's father and her mom, Nana, Hannah, Juana, Hannah, okay? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, Jacqueline, come on, we got a Jackie B. We want Jackie B on the camera. So,
She's gotta
okay.
hop up.
So her mom's like, fine. He could come to brunch. So then it's like, montage for brunch. Let's get ready. And again, this is pivotal because it's the first time.
Look, Mom, I really don't think it's a good idea for me to go to that brunch.
It's just too soon, you know? Brenty's nailing it with these clips.
Look, Serena, stop trying to pretend you're a good girl.
Calling her out. He's so okay. He's also British.
Look, honey, I know how hard it is for you to be back.
Do you though, Lily? Because you're kind of teetering on just wanting her to fill your cup of tea. Also, Howard Archibald, Nate's dad, is, you know, at the brunch. So we're like getting ready for the brunch. We're at the brunch. I think Young Folks is playing. It's hyping up. And what did you clock almost immediately?
Sorry, what?
In the brunch.
What did I clock at the brunch? Oh, the human statues. Yeah. If I show up to a party and there's human statues there, I'm leaving immediately. Because it just feels so gross.
I love that. I love it. I'm aligned with
Feels
that.
so gross.
So, like, does it hold up? You know, things that we did or still do, and there's things like that people do now, and even worse, and like eat food off of people and stuff. I don't know. It's just like it's not for me. It's yeah. But okay, so a moment for the situation, okay? Because this is going to speak to the longevity of the show. So right now we're in episode 2. It's 2007, September. I'm 20 years old. I have not seen anything like this except for, you know, kind of the West Coast version or a more adult version from the 90s called Sex and the City. So my mind is being blown. I grew up wearing headbands. Like I said, I have ties to New York. So I was in it. And what I saw them wearing, even in the pilot, in the first episode, the sets, was very extravagant and mind-blowing to me and stylish.
Body.
But the thing is, they were still experimental. They, you know, they weren't greenlit for a whole lot of shows or seasons yet. And that was actually, you know, a very humble beginning kind of look at like the brunch scene or some of the outfits that people were wearing, which to me, again, is mind-blowing. So we're going to look for that. Maybe you can start pulling up the outfit that Serena wore to brunch. So type in
Classy ass.
Yeah, exactly.
The outfit that who wore?
Serena, the wild brunch. She wears, and I love it. And so the styles in the earlier season are more unknown and like, you know, maybe like they had a lesser budget, but like I'm still blown away by it. It's like this silver dress.
That?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a better.
Yeah.
that type?
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
pretty. It's like white. And so when you're first watching it, it's like, wow, these outfits are so chic and beautiful and so fitted. Yet as the show goes on, and we'll see it pretty much from season 3 to season 6, it's designer. I mean, like the hair, the production, it's so much high level. Okay, so over here, yeah, I'm in the way of it. Yeah, boom, boom, right there. So again, if you're coming in with just the audio, we're looking at a picture of Dan and Serena arriving at the brunch. It's controversial. She knows Dan shouldn't be there. She knows that it's going to piss off Blair. It's going to piss off Chuck. She knows all these things. So yeah, she's wearing white and a sequin kind of loose fitting boho kind of Sienna Miller, Edie Sedgwick kind of vibe, and it's gorgeous. We love it for her. Yet it's considered one of the more low budget type of vibes as we go. So again, mind blowing on the growth of that. And so yeah, she's coming with this guy to confront her best friend or just be at the brunch of her old best friend who just found out that she slept with her current boyfriend who's also there at a table, and they're all like enjoying themselves. And we're going to take a moment for Blair's outfit. Okay. It's also white. If you could find Blair's outfit, it's a like
I'm on
eyelet.
it.
Yeah, Brenty's the best. It's an eyelet kind of 60s shape with elegant sleeves and kind of lace overlay. Chic, 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 and very Audrey Hepburn. Yeah. Oh, baby. Yes. So head to the Instagram or, YouTube shorts or Instagram clips to see some of these outfits if you're just coming in on audio, because these are iconic fits. And it's a long show. This was syndication. This was on television. There was like 20 plus episodes per season. Like, not sure what happened to all of that, now we have like 7 episodes. Oh, I mean, come on. If that's not like Mad Men, like chic and her hair, I mean, that is absolute goals. It's just so perfect and beautiful. That's the dress. I think you're hiding it behind the desk.
I'm trying to make her pop up from the desk. Hello.
Oh, wow. Oh. Wow. Whoa. Now there she goes. But yeah, it's so chic. It's one of my favorite.
I didn't put that on the screen. My bad.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
That's an oopsies.
Hey, it's our 2nd episode. We're having fun here. Part of putting yourself out to a public audience is not taking yourself too seriously. So yeah, big arrival, big beautiful white dresses. I mean, they're not big as in voluminous, but just a big deal as an iconic. And the dads are there, the moms are there, they're schmoozing. We got these like undressed statues painted and they're eating stuff. And Nate, is getting grilled by his dad. And, did you make things right with Blair? I'm trying to secure this deal with Eleanor. And it's like, yeah, things are great, Dad. And it's sad. He's going to just try to make it work to try to not upset his dad. And it's just very Nate coded, right? That's kind of what he does. And then we meet Bart Bass, who is Chuck Bass's dad. It's his fundraiser, and he's a real serious son of a gun. Pretty sure he was in The Sopranos as an actor, too.
Who's this? Chuck's dad?
Yeah, Bart Bass.
Bart Bass.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a serious dude.
Robert Burke.
Fabulous actor. There was a lot of adult storylines that I think made this show really powerful, that it wasn't just about the quote unquote teenagers, played by some teenagers and mostly 20-year-olds. But these adult parent characters, there were some amazing actors and storylines. So what do we got on his IMDb?
We got RoboCop 3.
Whoa, see what I'm saying?
Hold on, I'll put it up behind you. There we go. Yep.
Wow.
1993, RoboCop 3.
So not Sopranos?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Well, as the episode keeps rolling, obviously Blair is not happy. And she goes to Chuck. She's like, I can't believe Serena had the gall to come here. And she brought Dan? So they have a common enemy now. Dan. And yeah, they're leaning in. There's shots of them together. There's foreshadowing, okay? Y'all know, fun fact, that Chuck Bass was not supposed to be a regular character.
Sorry, he was on The Sopranos for one episode.
Yes!
Officer Zamudia.
Yes! Oh my gosh. Clock it.
How'd you pull that out? He was in one episode.
Curry, because you don't forget the one episode where you're watching The Sopranos and then you're completely unimmersed because it's Chuck Bass's dad.
That's crazy.
That's how deep in it I am. This
Shout out
gossip.
Robert Burke.
That's how deep I go. Okay. I don't want to hit bubs down here. So yeah, business is business, brunch is brunch. Blair is pissed, Chuck is pissed, Nate is trying to make things fine. Serena doesn't give a fuck. She's like, let's eat this and have some cheese and pepperonis. And Dan's like, this is mild. And then Serena's like, hey, Nate, why the fuck did you tell Blair? And he's like, well, let's just talk about it. Meet me in Chuck's suite in a couple minutes. Okay.
Why do you care so much?
Yeah. Clock that. Okay. So Nate says that. And then, Chuck is being gross a little bit again. And I think he's putting pressure on Blair and is like, you know what? Your time with Nate and nailing this down, sleeping with him and getting his mind off Serena, that clock is ticking. That ship is sailing. And you better go ride that pony. So like, here's the key to my suite. Go take him up there, go to town, fuck this, And it's like, ooh, like I would never want a friend to do that. Like, are you kidding me? Ugh. I mean, I don't know. That's gnarly as hell. But we always know now that Chuck loves Blair so deeply that he will, he fucks her over a lot because he's self-deprecating and needs love. But he will also do anything he can to give her the best experience, even if that means it's not with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you see a conflict here. 2 girls, 1 Nate, 1 Chuck suite. So, okay, she's like, all right, I'm going to go hit on Nate. Nate's like on the, getting brunch. She's getting all hot and heavy. She's like, I want to do it now. I can't wait. Like, let's go. Let's do it. And like, let's just go up to Chuck's room. It's cool. And he's like, okay. Like, if you could see my expression, my face expression is the fuck. Yeah, like, go into, like, do you not remember what you just said, Nate? So, like, they're all hot and heavy heading upstairs to Chuck's suite again. Like, Nate stays over with Chuck a lot, and it becomes clear in later episodes, like, why. But that's not, like, Nate's place. He has, like, a couch that he sleeps on, but I guess he's going to use Chuck's bed to sleep with Blair. But guess who's already there when they come in the door kissing and making out? Serena. What the fuck are you doing here, Serena? Blair's like, really? And then she's like, I thought you weren't going to talk to her anymore. And then Serena's like, you weren't going to talk to me? We're getting the trifecta. Robert Burke. Is this the guy?
Yeah, it's Robert Burke.
Okay, we're just doing a little Robert Burke love right now because it's a
Robert
big
Burke
deal.
pop-in.
Yeah, it's his first episode. We'll definitely have to give some love to Dorota too. She didn't get a lot of screen time, but we'll get her up on the screen. So shit's going down. We're cutting to commercial. Things are happening live. We don't know what's going to happen next, and it's like, sheesh. Blair storms off, and yeah, it's just not a good scene. Yeah. And this is the episode where Blair mentions to the crew that Dan Humphrey has a Cabbage Patch doll named Cedric, because Jenny accidentally mentioned that or something. I don't know. Yeah, I do know. She mentioned that when she was returning the calligraphy pens, and like, little Jay, that wasn't cool. You're giving the enemy some ammo. Okay, you gotta keep your lips zipped, little Jay. Yeah. So There's a lot going on here. I don't know. I don't know. Nate, you're kind of an idiot. This is a wild brunch. But what's a Gossip Girl episode without some drama, right?
That's right.
So, yeah, it's just awkward. I don't find that appropriate. But meanwhile, you know, the brunch is still happening while all this drama is happening in the penthouse. And we see because Serena's not there, right? So her date, Dan, is just kind of like cruising around, like looking around, kind of out of place. And he just kind of steps outside.
Nice try, son.
Yeah.
I clicked that like so long ago and it just played now.
What?
That nice try, son.
I wonder if the whole board's delayed.
Yeah.
Serena.
Serena's here?
Huh. Yeah, Serena is here. So, the most important parties to go to are the ones you're not invited to. And in this episode, we get the iconic quote, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." So some cold breakfast there. So Dan steps out for some air, and guess who he sees having an argument or some sort of heated discussion?
Rehiring of the million new statues.
Yeah, there were statues there. Like, they're not statues, they're human beings. I mean, like, I guess like living art. I don't know. But he sees a heated thing going between Lily and Bass, Chuck Bass's dad, Bart. And it's like, what's going on? Well, we get the full earshot as the audience. And the thing is, she's like, look, I'm tired of hiding it. When are you going to make us public? When are you going to let your other, like, younger, 25, whatever, ew, gross, this man is like mid-50s. When are you going to let your other 25-year-old models and assistants know that you're taken? And he's like, oh, it takes time. I'm going to, So she's seeing Bart.
Sparks were flying for sure, but will it be a three-way or D-Day?
It will just definitely not be a three-way because...
Why did it sound like that one ended with a fart?
Because I think it was going to go into the song.
Can we just try that
Spotted
again?
at the Palace Hotel.
Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Sparks were flying for sure, but will it be a three-way or D-Day?
It's just a fart at the
I think
end of
it connects into the like bump of the theme song bump.
All right.
But yeah, so like we are seeing, you know, as the audience that they're in this relationship, that it's not public. And Dan catches wind of this. And then Lily turns and sees Dan and is like, that's not what you think you saw. You know, don't tell anybody what you just saw. But that's not what you think you saw. Mind your own business. Mind your own beeswax here. You know? So he's like, I definitely saw what I saw. I know what I know. Clocked it. Lonely Boy clocks a lot of shit, right? Yeah. But Blair comes storming down and she tells Chuck, he's like, what happened? And he's like, she's all upset. Chuck's like, what the fuck? You were supposed to da-da-da-da-da. She's like, well, Serena was up there and friggin' da-da-da-da-da-da. It didn't go well, okay? So she storms down, and Dan kind of gets in the way and is asked, like, what's going on? You know, what's all this drama? And Chuck reveals that, well, basically, rolling this back.
Wait, this is Chuck Sweet.
Yeah, Chuck Sweet. So Blair's a quick thinker, right? So not only was she hurt, she walks up, she sees that they're going to meet and talk. She doesn't know. I would do the same exact thing. I'd flip my freaking lid. I'd go off, right? And she's like, this woman is, this young lady has no integrity. She's dating this guy, Dan, for a day, who thinks she's some great person. Well, let me tell Dan what kind of great person you are, because you slept with, your best friend's boyfriend. What a bitch. So she storms down and like immediate attack move, revenge move, like Darth Vader shit. And then Serena's like, oh shit, wait, you don't need to go tell Dan. Like, she wants to brush it under the rug. Like, why be authentic and own up and accountable? And it's like, yeah. So they're kind of rushing downstairs so that, either Serena can like interrupt and intercede Blair's announcement, but Blair basically comes down and says in front of, the clique and Chuck and Nate and Dan, it's a very public announcement about how this sweetheart of a girl, Serena Vanderwooden, slept with her boyfriend. What are you doing to me?
We lost the camera.
Oh no! And we're back. Things got so heated. We are in the climax, the, crescendo of the episode. Blair is racing down to tell Dan, right? But before she can, Chuck announces to Dan that that Serena slept with Nate while Nate was with Blair. This is yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah. What? And Dan looks right at Serena, and everyone's standing there, and he's like, is this true? And she's straight up, I think for the first time, we're clocking an honesty. She says, yeah, she admits it was true. And there's not a lot of opportunity to explain, right? Blair makes a jab about Cedric, the Cabbage Patch doll that Dan has. So now Dan looks at little Jay and is like, you're the only person who knows that. Why would you be with Blair and tell her that? Like, what the fuck? And then Chuck is just being an instigator because Dan isn't going through it enough. He goes up to Dan and says, I think your little sister and I have some unfinished business. To which we get punch number 2. So it's, it's a shove. Dan shoves.
Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't punch him.
Yeah. Shoves him, justifiably shoves him. He falls into a waiter. Glasses are falling. Chaos has ensued.
Son of a...
Yeah.
Son of a...
Shoulders. Glass is spilling. Chaos. Knock over a waiter. It's not good. So Dan goes to leave and Serena offers to go, but said, don't come with me. Like, I need some time. And Nate tells Blair sarcastically that he hopes that she's happy. And she's not. But the truth has to come out. Nate, you think I was happy living with this secret before, pretending? I'm not really, but you'll see how the episode ends. She kind of just goes with it. So, Dan's heartbroken, feels betrayed by Serena and his sister. Serena runs after him and is like, da 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 da. And she says something pretty interesting, which I want to capture here. So yeah, she follows him outside and tries to apologize. She says that that her world is crazy. And he simply says that, well, she's a part of it and that he really thought that she was different. Cliche. She's not different. Yeah, no, not different. She explained that anything that happened is in the past and all she can do is try to change for the better, and that if he can't see that.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And she kind of turns back on him and says, like, look, I've made mistakes in the past and I admit that. And yeah, this is a crazy world I'm a part of, but I'm trying to be a better person. And if you can't see that, then you're not the person I thought you were either. Ooh, ooh, it's a cut, it's a cut, it's a dash, it's a dash, it's a slash, it's a slash. Yeah. And Dan doesn't say anything back and just walks away, glances at her. They're back at the loft, and Jenny and Rufus come home, and Dan says that, you know, he found Serena, but he also lost her too. He's like a very open book. I love that their relationship, they're close at the Humphrey household where we are. What do you think? Close? Humphrey household? I mean, beautiful.
That's it. You're there, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, there's a good one about waffles, but it would have been too random to play it. I'll see if I can find it again.
Okay. Waffles are appropriate at any time during Gossip Girl because Rufus always tries to solve things with waffles. Yeah, so Jenny and Rufus come home. Dan says that he found Serena and lost her, you know, has a heart on his sleeve. He promises that it's for the best because this whole world, this Upper East Side, this chaos is not for him. Okay. And Jenny asks what happened and asks if, you know, Jenny's like, he asked Jenny, why did you talk to Blair? Why did you do that? You need to be more careful. And she you know, she's like, yeah, I did. I'm sorry, Dan. You know, and he's like, look, you can't trust these people on the Upper East Side. They're going to use these things against you or anyone that you know and love. Very true. So yeah, something that I want to circle back on are
washed up band, crappy so-called art gallery.
Yeah, that's me.
That's a good one.
That's me. Let's do that one again.
Washed up band, crappy so-called art gallery.
Yeah, so that was from the pilot where Lily is trying to insult Rufus by saying, like, you know, your art galleries, you sold out, you're not original, your band is nothing anymore, you're a has-been. They were just going tit for tat, but also kind of flirting in a weird way. So that's actually really amazing that you played a Rufus and Lily clip because I'm circling back to something that I forgot to mention. In this morning bustle before brunch, you know, I said Lily returned and saw Serena and Dan, and that's how they got invited to brunch. Well, she was returning from having coffee with Rufus. They met up for coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was totally down. He wore his cord and they were having coffee. And her whole point was like, look, can you try to like not have your son date or pursue Serena? The last thing she needs is a guy in her life. She needs to focus on herself. Very controlling mom, right? But is it about that? Or is it about the image of her dating somebody from Brooklyn? Or is it about her discomfort dating someone's, you know, son of somebody she dated? You know, it's more Lily centered than Serena centered. So they had coffee and she's like, try to tell your son to back off. And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? And also, I think your daughter could benefit from an influence like my son. Clocked. He's correct. She knows it. He knows it.
Savage.
Wicked savage. So another thing that I want to go back to is that moment in the beginning where after Serena was dismissed from Blair's Sunday before brunch at her house.
And apparently I know nothing.
Yeah. He actually knows a lot more than I think we like to admit. But it's hard to know sometimes, right? Knowing can be hard.
Well, our kids were bound to meet. It's a small island.
Yeah. He's so sassy. I love Rufus. That's why I wanted to dress up as him today. We got to give all the characters love throughout this rewatch. I will definitely be like more Blair because that's just how my wardrobe is. That's just my vibe. But I'm excited to
whatever works.
Yep. I've got such a cute lineup for all that. So again, Blair, so circling back to the first part of the show where Serena was dismissed and Jay comes in. I love the sets and design, and this is a really great view of the penthouse that Blair lives in. And it's got checkered floor, a spiral staircase, a center table, the entry room here to your right, the elevator that comes up, the staircase goes up into her bedrooms. And then in the front, there's a kitchen, and it's so gorgeous. Yes, right there. Okay, and look at her outfit too. Please grab the one with Serena and the bag. That one right there. Ooh. So this is iconic. So look at the design. It's beautiful. But this is Homegirl's morning before brunch outfit. It is a pair of denim shorts, black fringe suede boots that go over her calf, with some sort of flowy white top and a belt that is like kind of roped together, and a crocheted cropped beige sweater. It's just iconic. We're gonna have that on the Instagram. It's up here behind me on the green screen, and that's from this episode. She's got a great big red chunky bag. It's a staple of like her style. And again, as I'm looking at this, I think this is an example of maybe the lower budget kind of roots of the show when they first started, but such an iconic fit. And then there's, Blair in her like, morning robe. Wait, is that her in a robe? I don't know.
I don't know who that is. That's okay. Serena.
Okay. All right. So when little Jay comes into that beautiful foyer at Blair's penthouse, there's this beautiful bouquet of flowers. And she goes, wow, those flowers are beautiful. And as Blair marches up those gorgeous stairs, she goes, thanks, they're hydrangeas. Clocked, okay? So we missed those two parts, but now here we are at the end.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We're at the Yes. We're at the end now, and we're back at the loft, and we've clocked those two things that we missed. It's definitely important to mention that Lily and Rufus are having coffee, that Lily thinks she can be in Serena's business, and that Rufus was standing his business, being savage and telling the truth that, gosh, Dan Humphrey would be a good influence on that young lady. And then,
why are you being like this?
Right? It's just like, girl, just get your shit together. So Dan is feeling super discouraged. Not really sure where Rufus is at. His read is, he knows that Lily's seeing someone, but she made it seem not serious. Dan now knows that person is Bart and that they're having a little drama, but he's keeping that to himself. So they're back at the loft, and the scene ends kind of with this awesome montage. I believe the ending song is Believe by The Bravery. Thank you, gossipgirl.com.
Give me something to believe. Yeah.
I'm living just to breathe. Gossipgirl.fandom.com. They have a great list, and I also provide this information on the YouTube post and the details of the podcast, so you can see all of the songs in the order that they're played, and also some highlights. These songs are iconic, We're not done yet. Thank you so much. I am not quite done. So we're in the loft. The episode is ending. The montage, the bravery. It's playing. That's how we know we're going to have to, leave our Gossip Girl Upper East Side life for another week until the CW puts out another one.
With my sofa.
Yeah. So,
I didn't punch someone.
Pause on that just so I can finish describing this scene. Okay, hon?
I'm going to apologize for the wave.
Okay. I'm trying to get just through this last scene. The sound bites are so fun. I'm just not used to having them, and I don't mean to talk over them. Whoops. So, Dan is disheartened. Rufus, kind of hard to read. Jen, little Jay, she's jazzed, okay? She's like, I got a dress from Blair. I'm at the brunch. I'm in, kind of like, I was at Blair's house this morning, or penthouse, and she's arranging these flowers, right? And Dan is like, oh, nice flowers. And she's like, thanks. They're hydrangeas. Then we pan out. So that's a nod to the beginning, to her kind of trying to follow in Blair's shoes. Again, naive Blair, not realizing that she could be a threat, but just another minion. And then we see Nate and Blair spooning. She's like still wearing the dress from brunch.
They're hydrangeas.
Yeah. Do it again.
Thanks.
They're hydrangeas.
Yeah. And you hear like at the end of like the end of those clips have like part of those like
They're hydrangeas.
the music, the transitional music of those shows.
So nice flowers.
They're hydrangeas.
Dude, that's exactly the clip.
So nice flowers.
Shout out to Brenty.
They're hydrangeas.
So we have hydrangea bushes out front our house. It's a beautiful plant. I'd like to just give you a side note that at any bloom of the hydrangea, whatever color it happens to be, as they change color through their growth, you can clip them and they will dry and remain that color and be beautiful for years to come.
They're hydrangeas.
Yes, but I want to see if anyone in the comments who've made it this far in the podcast, who can drop the name of Blair's favorite flower. We're gonna.
They're hydrangeas.
It's not. I love that, Brenty. It's not. So we're gonna leave that. I know immediately what it is. So obviously, they're gorgeous flowers, and we'll reveal that.
Flowers.
So we'll reveal that next time. But the final scene that we're seeing here is Nate cuddling Blair, who's still in this like tight white like eyelet dress. She's got like this like really cute like ruby ring on and all this. And Nate is like cuddling her, and they're basically like, look, you can either forgive me and move on, or we break up. And then she like reaches for his hand, and she's just like, I'm accepting this. Ouch, man. Ouch, you know? So we're kind of seeing some of the choices.
It's not happening right now.
Yeah. We're seeing some of the choices that these characters are starting to make for themselves. Some of the choices and paths that they want to take. You know, Dan dipped his toes in the Serena pond, the Upper East Side. Wasn't really feeling it. You know, Blair kind of recruited little Jay. You know, like Jenny's now like at home trying on this blue dress that she got from Blair, you know, that morning of, and she's seeing herself in a new light, which is beautiful and really nice to see any, you know, person look in the mirror and see themselves in a different way, and in a way that's positive. Oh, wow. Yes. Is that on me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Penn Badgley or Chuck Bass? As
Kiss My Bass.
Yeah, that's been done and it's called the Zoolander. Thank you, Derek Zoolander. Look at that, the red blazer. Oh my gosh. You gotta get on the YouTube, you got on the video. Brenty is up here with such funny clips. These outfits, I forgot. The bow tie. And yet it was like, wow, he's so handsome. God, yeah, he's dashing. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So Blair reaches for Nate's hand. She's trying to make this work. It's sad. It feels loveless. It feels forced. You know. And then Serena is going to do something iconic. So now for the final part of this episode, could you please pull up the photo of Serena throwing her phone in the trash? This scene happens in episode 2 of season 1, and you'll see this meme everywhere. Yeah, it's just so good. There's a lot of things I want to say about this scene for a moment. It's going to be on me now, fading in. So behind me, again, it's this beautiful color palette that she's wearing. I want to talk first about the cinematography. Look at the color, okay? There's a light purple, lavender whiteness to the entire shot that I don't know. I be watching shows these days and they are dark. Dark. I can't see a lot of it. And when I watch shows back in the late 90s, early aughts, 2010s, and I'm seeing these nighttime shots, I'm just kind of blown away by some of the lighting. So really appreciate this moment of her throwing the trash. You can see this really cool shimmer to her silver textured jacket that she's wearing over that sequin dress that's got some embellished flowers. And so she's walking down New York. She's realized, this relationship with Blair is imploding because of her own choice to sleep with her boyfriend. Just her own consequences. And she's looking at a photo of her and Blair, the besties, on this little phone. Tiny little pixelated photo. And my goodness. She decides instead of to delete the photo, to just throw the whole phone in the trash. Bye. Oh God, no. I can't, I don't, it's so funny. And I don't know if the producers, the script, if, Blake Lively, if choices were made, but this is just hilarious. Lives on forever. It's iconic. It's white privilege up the wall with I'm just going to throw away a phone and just get another one. It's also dramatic as all get-go. And it's just, I don't know. It's so silvery and pretty. And she's just it's so dramatic. And I've done dramatic things with my phone. I have not thrown it away, but I would get so upset that it was an old brick phone that I would break it apart so it wouldn't work. And I'd have to put it back together for it to work. You get upset. Things happen. And I think when you talk about a broken heart, you think about
Trash?
Yeah, her phone. She was like, all this is trash. And it's in the past. And I'm walking alone. I got no phone. I'm not going to get any Gossip Girl.
XOXO. Gossip Girl.
XOXO, my butt cheeks, because I have no phone. But she's going to get a new phone. So just very symbolic ending there. And I love that it ends with her throwing it in the trash. And it's just wait, what? What are you going off the grid again, girl? It's you can't get off the grid. You literally are the grid. And New York was built in a grid pattern, city planning. So it's pretty interesting. Again, final mentions here is that this was the first episode where we saw some characters. What are you laughing at, Brenty?
Nothing.
No. What's going on?
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been fading my shot in very slowly throughout the episode.
Oh, well, that's cool. You've been kind of on my shoulder, or?
No, just fading in, checking in silently.
Okay. I love it. You know what we're going to do, not so silently, is check in Brent's gauge of how into it he is. So, and when I say how into it he is, I mean how into is how invested into the Gossip Girl world is he? And it's going to be from 1 to 11 because 11 November, Scorpio's Blair, get the picture. Right now, I am giving Brent can maybe give his own score, but this is kind of an outside perspective. because it's going to be interesting, because I think you're going to get a little bit hooked, especially as we continue to talk about it and you see things unfold. I think you are rocking like a soft, like 2.
That's very astute observation. Yeah, I could see getting into it. Right now, I am struggling with like the elitist, rich, super rich kids being douches.
Yeah.
I hope some people start getting some like consequences for their shitty actions, you know? Does that happen?
Well, the consequences are all of them just being shitty to each other. Like, they hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
But so does Gossip Girl. No one is free from the wrath of Gossip Girl, and that's something that kind of is a equalizer among all of them, and a reminder, because the white privilege, the Upper East Side, like all of it is just extremely blatant, and also a reflection of the media of the time. I mean, there's very little representation of shows like Sex and the City and Girls and things like that, where this falls right into that as well. So cannot be ignored. I think
do people die in the show? Maybe. Yes or no? We'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we
So
get
I'm
there.
to the viewers, to the listeners, I'm making an inquisitive face.
Okay.
And it's a face of mystery and intrigue, and one that if you've watched Gossip Girl, you know the answer to, and it's not so black and white, is it? Okay, final shout outs. Dorota. This was her first episode. Susanna. I do not want to mispronounce the actor's last name. Susanna Zargowski. And like I said, to this day, that actor and Leighton Meester are still close friends. She is just hilarious. Pull her up. Dorota. I've seen her act in other things, and I also get really excited when I see her. Very fun. Oh, Dorota, there we are. So it's I don't love that they make her costume like a typical maid outfit. It's like, what the heck? But I think they're trying to get that like lifestyle across, and that like extreme level of like access and privilege, and people really do live that way, and it is mind-blowing, but that is such a wonderful character and actor that I can't wait to explore more with, because she's really there for Blair, and as someone who grew up kind of feeling maybe like a little lonely or something, I liked seeing her have a companion like that. And let's just remember, we're doing this for fun. We're doing this to reflect, to think about how it made us feel back then and how it makes us feel now. And I'll tell you, it's still giving me goosebumps every time I hear that song. I see Central Park in my brain no matter what. And I'm just really excited to keep finding more friends to talk to about this, more comments. We're going to have some people eventually on the podcast talking about this. There's a lot to dive into, because there's fashion, there's music, there's culture, there's history, there's a lot more. There's experts on it. I just, like to, do my best to have fun and recap it. But there are people out there taking things very seriously and study the fashion and really take this passion of keeping the Gossip Girl world alive. And it's been 18 years, and every year that it gets older, I think there's going to be more generations that discover it. And yeah, I just want to remind you that it's not over until it's over, and revenge is a dish best served cold. XOXO, Alexandra.
They're hydrangeas.
Oh, that was the end?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. See you guys next time.
Yeah, that's how it ends. I think.
All right. See you guys.
Bye. No, that is how it ends.
Okay.